busy schedule.
I wonder if I've got time to record that list about
transits. What's the name?
and have to just
I gotta eat.
that down and
All day. I spent a week.
Next
Well,
reading is last
Effie, where
week.
are you?
Just
Grab
realized
my
now.
water.
Hi,
Hi, it's
how's your day
Matilda.
going?
It's so nice
Just
to hear
getting
your
your chart
voice.
up. Hello.
If the listeners heard the palaver that goes on for half an hour before we actually sit down and record, they'd have us both committed. I'm sure of it.
Probably. Hey. We're spiritual professionals. They're just lucky to get the tech.
Listen, this morning I put my coffee machine on and couldn't work out why, when I turned around, there was a pool of coffee on the floor and no mug underneath it.
Oh, God. I've done that.
So if that's anything to go by, we're in for a raging time. Yeah. How are you, Laurie? In your bed in a hotel
In London town. Oh,
Yay.
my God, it's good to be back.
We are actually on other sides of the earth today.
We are. Even though we're normally on other side, but we're on different sides of other
We're on
sides
different
of the
sides
earth.
of the other
Yeah.
side. Yeah. Okay. Do you have to confuse all issues?
Yes. That would be correct, ma'am.
That's pedantic at its best, but you're in my hometown.
I am. And by the way, thank you for the tea. It was lovely. My daughter and I had the best time.
Oh, I'm so glad. I was so jealous when I saw your TikTok post. I was like, oh my gosh, that food looks amazing.
And the only thing I could think of when it showed up was only a Taurus would gift this. Because it was magnifico. It was so good and so beautiful. You guys can see the tea on my TikTok, and I gave great thanks to Matilda. It was just a wonderful day with my daughter.
Oh, it's such a lovely gift to give to a mother and daughter to go and have afternoon tea together. Because it's just, and yeah, the little dainty sandwiches that you can eat.
Absolutely. And, you know, I used to, when she was a little girl, we had a tea room about an hour away that served really beautiful teas, but it was kind of tailored to mothers and daughters, and they had fancy hats and feather boas you could put on, and it was very themed.
Oh, wow.
And that's what I used to do with her when she was a little girl, and say, someday we'll go to London and we'll have tea.
And you
did. We did. Thank you.
That's amazing. Yeah. I don't have a daughter that will sit through afternoon tea with me, but
you can borrow mine.
I'll borrow yours, yes. But occasionally I do take my Taurus son, so I have a Taurus son. He likes a good afternoon tea.
Absolutely.
But my eldest would just go in and complain that all the food is too small, and there was
nothing too small on that plate. I was shocked at the size. The sandwiches were like this.
Oh,
they weren't the little squares. I mean, it was solid. I'm going to walk this whole week because of it. By the way, I wanted to congratulate you, Madam, on your brilliant handling of the Princess of Wales and all the nonsense that went on about that.
Oh, thank you. But back at you. I think that we both handled it with the grace that it deserved. Sadly, not too many people claiming to be metaphysicians did the same.
No.
I've been trolled all afternoon by people saying that her video was AI. It's just like, do you know
people
what I
need
think?
to stop with the nonsense.
Need to stop. They are gaslighting themselves. This is what gets me. I see so many people that gaslight themselves because they don't want to spend the time looking at things that matter.
Yep.
Or matter even to themselves, that they will spend 20, 30 hours going down conspiracy theory rabbit holes in order to make themselves feel better and to try and
feel important and feel, and they don't recognize their own power. So they're trying to grab it from someone taking it away instead of owning, you know, some of them could be very intuitive, very psychic, but they're not realizing it.
No,
they're not doing it yet. But have you seen the eclipse? If I get tagged one more time in that woman's video about, that they're not aligned. I'm like, she's trying to say they're not opposite each other. And I'm like, yeah, because it's a solar eclipse. They're never opposite. But how can it cast a shadow on Earth if the sun and moon aren't opposite each other? I'm like, because they actually have to be right next to each other to do that.
My head hurts. My head hurts. And the 6th of April, Laurie,
it's the 8th, but that's
Is it the 8th? I'm sorry.
It's the 8th. That's all right.
That's how much heed I pay of these things.
Right.
Tell me, Laurie, are we expecting 3 days of darkness?
Who the fuck is saying that?
There's a conspiracy theory going around. I did say in my Beyond the Broomstick podcast that I had been asked hundreds of times about this 3 days of darkness in April.
No.
And
it's not how it works.
I want to stick forks in both my eyes, my blind one and the one that I can see out of. It hurts. The amount of conspiracy theories and the amount of people that will go down stupid rabbit holes and the new age is hurting me. It's hurting my soul, Laurie.
My daughter, I had to remake videos because my original responses to this were not kind. And my daughter's like, Mom, you have to work on your likability factor. And I'm like, Sarah, they're dumb. These people, what the fuck is wrong with them? Google it. But they're like, we can't trust NASA. NASA's gaslighting us. I'm like, they're a bunch of freaking nerdy scientists. They are not trying to gaslight you. What the hell?
I look, you are very likable. I think I'm likable. We get spicy occasionally. I'm sure that I would have many more followers on social media if I wasn't as spicy sometimes. But you know what?
But do we want those people?
No, we don't want those people.
I don't. I don't want them. Please
I get
don't.
tired. And I go into my, the tags where you're tagged in posts. And
I hate it.
People have tagged me. And look, I like it. Sometimes it does make me aware of predictions that I've made that have happened because I
right. That's different. Yeah.
That's very different.
Yeah.
But I look at them and I read them and I just go, why are you tagging me in this? It's not a prediction. It's a conspiracy theory. What's the reasoning? And if you think about it, and I talk about this all the time, the energy that we only have a certain amount of energy. And I don't want to deplete my energy looking at
dumb
conspiracy theories when I could be helping somebody. And
look at the damage. Look at the damage people did with Kate. Look at the damage they did. She has children. Mm-hmm. Those children were at school. Imagine getting teased. Oh, your mommy had an affair. Your mommy's having somebody's baby. Your daddy killed somebody. Kids in private school in any country can be absolutely vicious. And if you think those kids, because they're royal, do not get hammered, and you bet your ass they do.
Yeah.
That's just not okay.
This is the thing. There's the ambulance chasers that are on social media that are doing it for clout, and especially when they claim to be psychic mediums or astrologers
or tarot readers or whatever they think they are.
Yeah, whatever they think they are, and they are making these comments, or they are just gossipers. That's all they are. They're gossipers, and they're putting an official title on it. Yep. And those people that go to that school, you can bet your bottom dollar that they are seeing it. It's being talked about. Big brothers, big sisters talking about it to their younger siblings, and they are getting hammered at school. And how hurtful. How hurtful to be dealing, and look at it from William's point of view. This guy is carrying the weight of the monarchy on his shoulders. Now, I am not a monarchist. I understand the pomp and ceremony because I grew up with it.
Absolutely.
I like that. I have respect for them, and I understand their need for privacy. 100%. The fact that people were going, where is she? Where is she? And she had said she wouldn't be around until April.
Till Easter. She said, not till after Easter. That was really clear. That was a very clear thing.
It was such a clear. How unclear was that? Like, do you know what I mean? If you cannot understand that, how stupid do you have to be?
100%. And the thing I saw in her astrology, and I talked about it on my podcast, and just because I kept getting asked, and I understand people's curiosity, and when everything is flying, and I know people come to me for just truth. You know, same
exactly
with you.
The same as
truth.
why
We're
they
gonna
came
get
to me.
Truth.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, when I looked at her astrology, this is a very private year.
Yep.
Very private. And in fact, that's the hallmark of the chart I looked at. It was bringing the energy into home, dealing with the family. She has a Cancer moon and she is a Capricorn sun. You couldn't get a more dedicated mother.
No.
Okay. And after everything Diana went through, do you think neither William or Harry are going to want their wives dragged?
Yeah.
After what happened to their mothers. And they know better than anybody else what's going to be on the kids.
Yeah.
And I'm like, good God, have some respect. We don't need to take sides. We don't need to, because I don't care about the hubbub in that family dynamic.
Oh,
watching that young man.
Sorry, go on. I'm sorry.
Well, I was just saying, it's all right. Watching William when he was swaying and he had such dark circles, I thought that man has not slept. No. He's showing up out of duty. And I thought, boy, she's got to be really sick. And that was just me using my intuitive eyes and just being an empathetic human.
Yeah, I felt that he actually had the flu at that time because I heard him speak that night and his voice was gone. So he was exhausted. And people are going on social media, oh, would you give this much empathy to Meghan? Yeah, probably we would, but why does it have to be one or the other? There are people in this world that go at things and look at things on face value. They don't necessarily take sides. And the negativity that I have seen, and I found it all too much. Like, I think I made a post, I think it was Thursday. I was I just couldn't look at social media anymore. I couldn't be asked anymore. Right. I just felt that everyone was just negative. And I'm like, how can you be so bitter as human beings to not understand that a young mother is sick? Now, taking away from the recent diagnosis, I had said that I felt that she suffered from a condition that was very likely something to do with her stomach, not her reproductive organs, her stomach.
No, it's very clear.
She had to have incredibly invasive, serious surgery. I did not get shown that she had cancer, but I did get shown that she was seriously ill and that she needed this time to recover.
It's very clear in her astrology as well.
Very clear.
But she comes out strong. She comes out strong, and I'll stand on this.
With that.
Yeah,
I
looking forward, she comes out strong.
She won't be seen a lot this year. I think that we will be very lucky to see her at maybe a dozen public events later in the year.
And nobody's owed that. She's ill.
Yeah, but I think that she will be working from home, so you will see a lot of video of her. But I have absolutely no doubt that she will come back next year. She will be seen out and about, and she may well do some public appearances for a charity connected to her ongoing illness. And I said this, I think I made a video Thursday or Wednesday or Thursday, and I said she will come out and talk publicly about her diagnosis.
You did. Knuckle bump.
People need to really stop. Like, I was looking and people saying, oh, the flowers don't move. The flowers move. If you look at one side of it, you can see the daffodils moving. People are just ridiculous. She looks pale. She looks as if she's lost a lot of weight, which you would expect.
She does, yeah.
Stop pulling it apart.
Yeah.
But, I'm just, it's shown a very, very ugly side of social media that I don't like. And I was very upset by it.
They do it with celebrity of all kinds. They do it, and it's like, would you want that happening to you? I mean, when we look at, there's this TikTok thing with, like, poor Elise Myers,
Oh, devastated.
That woman is, one, fragile, and that is a part of how she gained her popularity was sharing her fragility. that anyone would do that. Well, she has a very, very sick infant. What the hell? And if you're listening and you're part of that, knock it off and stop listening to us. Because we're not two to tangle with.
We are not two to tangle with. I would get on a plane and fight for Elise Myers. I think that she is such a beautiful soul. Yeah, and to go through, I've had a child that was incredibly sick as a baby. I spent months at the Royal Children's Hospital with him, and I can only imagine what she's going through and having to deal with that emotionally. Mm-hmm. But people forget that is her income now. She was able to commit herself to raising her boys because she had TikTok, and that was taken away from her from bullying. Yeah. And that's what it is. People bullied Kate.
And I am going to say a warning to everybody. If you're going to make an income using the internet, you should not be reliant on a platform for that income, because platforms come and go. If you're old enough, you've seen plenty of platforms come and go. You always want to have a way to bring income in that isn't dependent on a third party. Absolutely. Now, that's not a blame at her. I'm just saying to anybody listening, if you make money on using your social, use it for marketing.
Where's my sticky notes?
But yeah, so Matilda and I do not make money from the Creator Fund. We are doing a public service on social media.
Yeah, that's all we do. It is a public service. I had a thriving business before I came to social media. Yep. I did it because I wanted to open up people's ideas of what real spirituality is. And I know that Laurie had a thriving business.
Absolutely did not need TikTok. I was doing fine. I came on to get people ready because everybody thought because I got on in 2020 and people thought 2021. People thought, teasing me. People thought that, they kept talking about 2021 was going to be so great. And I was like, oh, it probably won't be so great. It probably won't be so great for a while. And so I was preparing people, like at this point now with 2025 on the horizon, I can't prepare people anymore. So I'm starting to make more educational content around astrology. I'm doing much less predictions on TikTok, mostly because I get shadow banned so hard, so I've left that be.
I will still make predictions on TikTok.
I just do it on my podcast.
But I just find I get so many people will mass report, and that's how we get shadow banned. That's what it is. It's the narky people that will mass report us. So I've taken a lot of mine to Patreon.
Patreon and our podcasts, and your podcast is Beyond the Broomstick. Mine is the Awake Space Astrology Podcast, and your Patreon is patreon.com.
The Real Medium Matilda.
The Real Medium Matilda. Yeah,
that's me.
The Awake Space. So
actually, I think mine is Medium Matilda, but I can't remember, and I have to get all of my platforms aligned.
You know what? It'll be correct in the show notes. Listen, I'll link it up correctly.
We're back to front here. It's late here for me, it's early. So I'm having her coffee.
Yeah,
I'm having my gin that I wish was water. No, water that I wish was gin.
Gin that I wish was water. Oh my god! So, that was good though. So that's our business out of the way. This is getting us after work or before work or whatever we're doing.
Yeah, whatever we're doing. But that was our gripe that we have both been whinging about on social. Well, not to each other, I mean.
Yeah, because we talk all the time. Media. Aren't you guys jealous?
Yeah,
they should be. It's so cathartic though. It's so good. I've not had a peer to debrief with in a very long time.
No, neither have I.
So it's lovely to have somebody with the same ethics, same standards, and we can both bang our heads against walls as we talk about that.
Yeah, our heads hurt on a regular basis when we come off of TikTok and bang our heads against. Oh,
you know what?
Oh, she's got.
You know what I got to rediscover here in England because it's the best shit ever.
What?
Fizzy Panadol. Oh my God, I've missed this so much. They don't have this in America. They don't have it in America.
Can you not take tablets?
I can, but this stuff gets in your system so fast that if you have owies, it moves faster than if you take the tablets.
I don't know if I can take that. I think I'd just bring it straight back up again.
Oh my God, my knees hurt. So my daughter had me first day here. And I'm old and out of shape and fat. Okay, yes, I have been losing weight, but I haven't walked a lot. And I said, hey, I need to go slow. She's like, yeah, sure. We walked 8 miles.
That's an easy day.
Oh my God, my knees hurt so bad. I was like, girl, you're going to kill me. No.
Was that her intention?
No, not at all. She wants me to be in shape and live a long time. And I'm like, well, how we do that is we do it in like 2-mile chunks, not all in one go. Okay. And so the other thing I've discovered, because we don't, oh God, this will lead into our dating. So in America, as you well know, because I turned you onto this cream, we have the Aspercream with lidocaine, or, you know, it's a topical cream that you can put on sore muscles.
I ordered because you can't get it in Australia either. And I ordered it and it does work. And when I broke my foot, before I could get to a doctor, do you remember I sent you that text?
Yes.
This works on broken feet.
So my feet hurt and so did my knees. And I went to Boots. And so I go looking, and I knew I wouldn't get the lidocaine because I've had other people have to order it from the States, right? But I go and I find, for those of you listening, I'm leaning over to my bedside table. And I found this stuff, and it's called Motisol Max, and it's got 2.32%. Some active ingredient that I can't read without my reading glasses.
I can't see it from here.
Yeah, we're both blind. Anyway, it's some kind of anti-inflammatory, right?
Okay.
So I go up to the pharmacist and I say, is this an equivalency to lidocaine? And the spraying man, my daughter's standing there, and she's 30, everybody. It's not like she's a kid, okay? So anyway, the cute little pharmacist is kind of noticing my daughter is cute, and he's like 35 or so, and he's kind of batted his eyes. And anyway, I said, so is this the equivalent of lidocaine? And he said, oh, madam, lidocaine is used for vaginal issues. And I went, oh, really? And then I went, oh, right? And I looked at Sarah and I went, oh, you know what? I bet, that makes so much sense. And I went, oh, that's a story I can't tell you. I'll have to tell you. And the poor man is blushing at this point. And I said, so is that like ibuprofen? It's an anti-inflammatory. It's like, yes. And I said, this is what I need then. I just have sore knees. So back in the
Nowhere
day,
else is sore. Nowhere else is sore.
Nowhere else is sore. We're fine. The vaginal area is fine. He goes, well, if it's not caused by inflammation, it won't work. I'm like, don't worry, it's inflammation. So back in the day in university in England, because I was very naive and sheltered, and I was. Everybody always thinks Americans are wild, but honestly, a lot of us are not as young people, right? Especially girls. And when I was growing up, you were very sheltered. And there's sex shops, like in Leicester Square and stuff.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
I didn't know what those were, right? And so they thought it'd be really funny, my friends from uni, to take me into them. And there was this spray called stud spray.
Oh, does that make them last longer?
It makes them last longer because, they can't feel anything, right? So they go longer than 2 seconds. Right? And anyway, one of
My
my
eyes are being opened.
girlfriends, right? And this is back in like 1988, right? So one of my girlfriends bought it as a joke, right? And it insulted her boyfriend, and he got very upset with her and what have you. But she found out it did numb things, and we would use it as emergency on, like, if we burned ourselves or something. And so out would come the stun spray. Because it's just lidocaine. Oh, God. But I couldn't tell my daughter that because, that's not a mom story.
Oh, it's so a mum story.
She does not want those. She's a Virgo.
So a mum story.
She will tell me that is not an appropriate way to speak to your child, mother. You're not 12.
Oh my God. I have 2 boys, okay? One of them's 23 and one of them's 28. My 28-year-old is always over here he's a carpenter, so he does odd jobs for me and things like that. And him and his girlfriend came over and they did something for me. And I said, do you want some money for some takeaway? Because they were heading off to get dinner. And I said, why don't you just get Uber Eats? They have their own money. It's just, I'm a mum. I like to treat them.
Same. Yep.
And I went and got $50 out of my bedroom. And my son said, oh, where are you hiding cash? And I said, wouldn't you like to know? And he said, well, he was joking. He says, I'm going to come round and find it. I said, I keep it with my sex toys. And he said, he just dropped the $50 very and said maybe, and his girlfriend was wetting herself. I do not keep my money with the sex toys, but it was something fun to
bump.
But
I love that.
That was,
so that's funny.
Yeah, he just, whenever I give him money now, he says, where did you have this?
Well, between the boobs. Oh, yeah. It's got, now watch out for the boob sweat.
But it makes them laugh.
Right, absolutely. Half of it's a joke. Yeah. I often tell you, I was like, how do you think you were born? It was not an immaculate conception. Well, it was immaculate, but not that way. But
I got asked if I was pregnant yesterday. I had to go and get my toe re-x-rayed.
Uh-huh.
And they said, is there any chance you could be pregnant? And I looked at her and I said, I am 52 years old. I would have to call it Jesus. It would be that much of a miracle. It was just like not going to be. She's like, why would you ask me that? She said, we have to ask even 10-year-olds.
Oh, that's a bit sad though.
That is very sad, but they have to ask all females.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, I am not pregnant. Nor do I look pregnant. Well, I probably do. But I am not.
I do after all the food I ate yesterday.
Oh, you had fun and you'll walk it off in no time.
Well, it wasn't just the tea. It was the dinner with a friend afterwards, like a few hours later, like 4 hours later after that phenomenal tea, which would have lasted me for days. Then we went out and had Mediterranean food, which was just delicious.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. I'll walk it off tonight.
Food in London has improved significantly.
Immensely. I don't know why they did Brexit. It better not ruin the food here. Because let me tell you, the food was not so good. I lost 30 pounds in the first 12 weeks of living in the UK.
Wow.
And I didn't have a lot to lose as an 18-year-old. Yeah. But at my university, and university food is absolute shite. You couldn't tell the difference between the boiled cauliflower and the mashed potatoes at my university. I actually got
like school food.
I organized a student strike at my university, which was mostly rich kids who didn't have to eat on campus. But I showed them how much money was being stolen from them and got their privilege riled up, and then they all did strike with me because there was like 5 of us who had to eat on campus. Everybody else was like, I'll go have a 400-pound meal in England, in London.
Yeah,
that's great, dude. I can't do that.
Did the food improve after that?
It did.
Sounds like food at high school.
All I asked is, I would like to tell the difference between the cauliflower and the mashed potatoes. I didn't think that was a hard ask.
Ugh. It's, yeah.
It's so good now, though. Oh, my God. It's so good.
Yeah,
I haven't had a bad meal yet.
I have not been back to the UK. Next year's my year.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't realise that I hadn't been back since 2015.
Oh, wow.
I did go over in 2017. I'm lying. I have 3 brothers that all got married within 12 months of each other.
Oh, wow.
So I had to come back 3 times within a year. So 2017 was the last time I was over. And yeah, and before that I'd been over a lot in years before that. The food had significantly improved. And for me, because I don't eat meat, I don't eat gluten. I'm just a pain in the ass.
There's all kinds of gluten-free stuff here.
Yeah. Yeah, but the problem is that a lot of the gluten-free stuff they have meat in.
Oh.
You have to watch it. When you're looking at a menu now, look, I'm lucky if I get a salad. Somebody once put a glass of water in front of me and said, "There's your lunch."
Oh.
Just because they were just teasing.
But you'd think, with gluten-free, like, I can understand that, very necessary, because a lot of the gluten intolerance, the actual gluten intolerance, is from the British Isles. There's
an autoimmune disease. It's not just an intolerance. Celiac disease is an autoimmune disease.
Celiacs. Yeah. Well, in the States, there's 2, because in America, with the additives and the preservatives, then it creates an intolerance, and then there's celeacs.
Right.
Which is it's a genetic.
It's different. It's a genetic thing.
Yeah. And so but I was really shocked because we've got a Marks and Sparks on the corner.
I was talking to you whilst you were walking through there the other day, and it just I'm so sad. The food is amazing.
It is amazing. Lots of lovely fruit. And the raspberries. In America, I don't know what they do wrong with raspberries. Now, unless you grow them yourself. I always had a garden for years when I was raising my kids. But, the raspberries and the blueberries are so good. And I got some really good cheese with tomato, the Italian mozzarella with the tomato, the basil.
Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I love that for breakfast. So
Yum.
It was so good. And I was just really shocked. But then, of course, we're staying in Kensington, which has a huge French community anyway. So
you're not slumming it. Let's just say with Kensington, you're not slumming it.
No. Well, we're closer to Bromley. But it's still not slumming it.
Terrible.
Oh, Sarah's bougie friends, my daughter's bougie friends were like, "Oh, you're near Bromley." I'm like, "Sorry, we're not in Chelsea, darling. Sorry. So sorry."
Yeah.
Good God.
I used to go to Marks and Spencer's on my way home from work on a Friday night and pick up Friday night dinner and stuff for the weekend and my Monday lunch. And then that was my shopping. Because when you're on your own, you can actually afford to shop at Marks and Sparks.
Oh, yeah. Well, honestly, it wasn't. And if you're like, I'm a good shopper anyway. So it's like, I'm not going to pick out tons and tons. And we're in a little hotel room without a mini fridge, So I'm just picking out little bits. But the Easter stuff is so cool. And so I've been hiding little bits and bobs. I'm just getting little things.
Yeah.
Because they're so cute. And every time I come in, I'm like, "Don't look." And she's like, "What?" I'm like, "Easter Bunny is coming." Because I still do that for my kids. I don't care if they grow up. They're Easter Bunny.
No, we did Easter. I sent my son Easter eggs on Friday with the supermarket delivery. Oh, get this. Do you remember I told you the other week I got a box of chocolates with my delivery because it said, "Congratulations on your 100th delivery." Mm-hmm. And I got a box of roses.
Yeah. Wow.
I was talking to my son Charlie, who lives in South Australia, and he said, "When are you going to be in? Because I'm going to send yours and his brothers and everyone's Easter eggs, and I want you to split them up and blah, blah. And I said, I'll be in on Friday. Can I send yours on the same day? Because he has a Friday off. So I arranged for his delivery for him and his girlfriend, and all of the stuff arrived for my family to split up. Mm-hmm. And I said, oh, who's the box of roses for? And I'm going through on the phone. He said, hold on, I'm FaceTiming you because I didn't order roses. I need to know what's in those bags. Okay. And he goes through, and I pulled out the roses, and it says, congratulations on your first order with Woolworths, because he'd done it through his account.
Oh.
So he got a box of roses. And he said, well, that's not fair. I said, oh, I'll keep them for when you're home. I won't. Are you listening to this, Charlie? No.
That's so cute.
But yes, so we did all the Easter, and I will take my eldest boy and his girlfriend out for lunch on Easter Sunday.
I love that.
Because I'm not working. I've got time off too. So I am reading Sunday and Monday, and then I am off for a whole week.
Oh, wow.
A whole week. I have to go to Melbourne to get some photographs done next week.
Oh, right. That's going to be fun.
That's going to be fun. And that's it. That's all I've got. But I've booked myself into a bougie hotel for 2 nights in Melbourne. I just about said London then.
I was going to say, are you coming?
I'm coming over. Yes, so that'll be fun. That's my week ahead. But yes, talking about the JJs, as you were, with your visit to Boots.
That's right.
We said we'd talk about dating in this episode.
We were. Absolutely.
Have you found it, or did you find it when you did date, difficult being somebody that is incredibly intuitive and psychic?
Yeah.
It's okay. And at what point did you ask for their birthday?
I mixed it up because I didn't really date until I was 50. Mm-hmm. I tried dating on and off. Didn't really date much when I was young, kind of just ended up married, right? Yeah. And then ended up married again. And that one is still confusing me.
How did you step into marriages?
I have a Libra moon.
You're on your third.
No, I'm not on my third because I ain't getting married again. I just had 2. We're done. No more marriage. Libra moon, no boundaries, and didn't understand that just because somebody liked you, you didn't have to like them back.
Okay.
Yeah. And so it's like, oh, they like me. It must be a thing. I was damaged, honey. I was so traumatized. But
no, I totally understand that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so social conditioning, all of that fun stuff. So at 50, I decided to date and have fun. And at first, I would only go on dates with people who I got their birth information from. And first date I knew I knew it was not going to be nothing more than that date because his birthday, the day and month, was the same as my first husband's, and the birth year was the same as my second husband. And I went, well, this is going to be a hard no.
Yeah.
I don't even need to see his chart. This is a hard no. This is the universe saying you're going to see a pattern when you have dinner. And we did because he was running late, which is not unusual in Los Angeles. You're trying to get across town in traffic and everybody gives people grace. But I don't like to hold up kitchen staffs, and it was late. And so when he called to let me know he's running late, I said, hey, the kitchen closes at this time. Let me put the order in for dinner. What do you want? Because I've been a very good wife.
Right.
By the time he got there, and I had ordered myself appetizers because I was coming in from work, and I was starving. And so I ordered some appetizers, but I had the drinks ready. I had everything. And as he sat down, dinner was served. And the look on this man's face, and he was a lovely man. Don't get me wrong. There was nothing actually wrong with him. He just got gooey-eyed, just like, oh, my kind of women. I was like, oh yeah, once again, I make it great for them. Yeah. And he inconvenienced me. And I knew, but it was great. It was a great way to see the boundary.
Yeah.
it was a great way to say, oh, you did it again, Laurie. Don't do this. And he knew by the end of it. He's like, you're not going to want to. I'm like, no, I don't want, I need to date and not be a wife.
Mm-hmm.
So that was on me. But yeah. What about you?
Oh, gosh. Well, I married young, similar to you, and moved across the world. And my marriage did not end acrimoniously. We ended as friends. We are still best friends.
I love that.
As many people, as you would know, Laurie.
Mm-hmm.
He's an amazing man. We just married young. We were married for 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
But I also had a lot of trauma growing up, being the people pleaser that I had become.
Mm-hmm.
And I really felt overwhelmed with men. But I'm talking about platonic men. So I've got 3 brothers, I have 2 sons, I have a husband who had become my friend. So I didn't actually start dating until I was in my 40s. And when I mean dating, I mean properly dating. I fell into a very bad relationship. It wasn't even a relationship. It was a friendship with a very
Friends
narcissistic...
with benefits?
No, they weren't even benefits, but he treated me like a wife. And he sent me love songs, singing them to me. Like Ed Sheeran, Give Me Love.
That's a red flag, right?
I know, but I didn't know that at the time.
No.
He was in England. We had met through a joint project. When I was over there caring for my mum, we became very close friends, and he treated me like we were in a relationship. Got jealous. Would phone me 3-4 times a day. And so I automatically assumed it would lead to something, and stupid me said something, and I just got told, why would I be attracted to you? He told me on the morning that my mother died that whatever we have, it's over. On the morning that my mother died. He was not a very nice person.
What a wanker.
Yes, I know. Nottingham, what can I say?
Oh, God, yeah.
And yeah, total. But it was me. I was the problem. I was convinced that I was the problem. And because I hadn't dated, and it didn't take me long because I was very vulnerable at that stage with my mum dying and being overseas.
Well,
and
it's
all
a hard
of those
time.
things.
Yeah.
But very quickly, I grew my crown back and realised I've just done all the things that I had to tell other people not to do. Let's remember who you are. And I got over that. So I dated for dating's sake when I was in Melbourne. It was great because I lived in the city and I worked in the city, and I had a great, I do have a great story. I'll save it for another podcast though, another episode though, because
we should just tell little vignettes in each episode.
It might make a few people blush, but
I've got a few.
But I had fun. And I've now been single for a really long time, and I'm quite happy with it.
I'm with you.
I met somebody that I really liked a number of years ago, and really had that, that when you know someone, you actually feel like you've known them before. And I had that with him, and it didn't work out. He was a nice enough person, but, not for me. And I can't tell you that I am just really happy. I don't want to date. I think that
I'm done dating. I have no interest.
The fish in the sea in my local vicinity are mouldy.
Having been in a larger dating pool in LA, I am unwilling to do what it takes to have a relationship. So I really am. I love Cher. And when Cher's mother told her, you need to find a rich husband, she went, Mom, I am a rich husband. And that's kind of where it is. If I want companionship, or if I need an itch scratched, then I think we can take care of those things. Yeah. I am not interested in the emotional labor required in a relationship. Like, I do have a boyfriend, I guess you could call that. And if he ever got his shit together and could just pick up and take off, but if I hear excuses like I did when I left to come to England, like, well, I don't have your luxury. And I'm like, no, I purposely designed my life this way. I don't have luxury. I purposely created a business that allowed me to be mobile. I took it on the chin.
Yep.
A lot to build this. And it's done with two hands, just like you did yours. I didn't go take out loans to build my business. It was reading by reading to start,
Yeah.
And I built this myself. So, he chose to build his life that way. And okay, but I'm not going to sit around waiting for somebody to get their shit together.
No.
Next year's 5.
It's not old. Next year's my year.
It's not. But think about it. 75 is now 20 years away. I'm not sitting in a city I haven't been in other than 25 years. Well, 25 years, but it was I was, running for my life and spent the night with my dear friend who I got to see last night. She gave us a spot for the night on the way out. But I haven't lived here since 1990. And I was popping in and out in 91 because we got married here. But so a long time. But I've only got 20 years of real functionality. After 75, you slow down considerably. I'm just watching my own family. I mean, my parents are in Spain right now. I've been threatening to bomb their vacation.
I think you should.
I'm really so close. I'm like,
you should.
I think I should. I'm like, hola, Madrid.
Next year's my year to travel. I've got it planned. I'm doing around the world. I talk about it all the time.
Phineas Fogg.
Yep, I'm doing that, and I'm doing it for me. I did the whole... went back to England to live for a period of time after my mum passed away. Not anywhere near where I grew up. I chose a completely different city. I had a contract there, so it was fine. But I tried to live in another city. Now I know I just want to do pit stops. I have my home. I have a home base, which for me is important. I know that it's not as important for you.
It will be.
I have been lumbered with Buffy. I love Buffy to death, but he was not my choice because I knew that I was traveling. And my son then got a dog and said, I will look after him. And then he chose to travel. So I have...
Isn't that fun how kids do that?
It's great how kids do that. But my son is coming back to Victoria to live in July, and my ex-husband is up the road who has shared custody because neither of us wanted a full-time dog.
Right.
And he's spoiled. Wherever he goes, he is ruined.
Well-loved.
Well-loved and ruined rotten. So, next year is my year to travel. But I had not been back to... I left the UK in 1993 on a one-way ticket to Melbourne.
Right.
As a young bride, having married an Australian.
There you go. Yeah.
So, that was a bit of a wow, shock moment.
Right.
But this is how our lives aligned. So we sort of passed each other in London.
We did.
I was at LSE when you were around in London. Yeah.
Yep. One of my professors went to teach there. He was a fellow at Charterhouse. So...
Yeah, so it was...
Well, he was the head of my department, but I was his pet student. But yeah, I love how we kind of dovetailed even our studies because I did international relations, and if I could have had a double major, then my university just didn't do that. So I packed it in with cultural anthropology because I was looking at culture and behavior as related to culture in how we formed policy. And you did behavioral economics.
I did economics, but specialised in behavioural economics after I did a European commerce bachelor degree, just as I left Europe. So, they dovetailed. And then I went on to use behavioural economics as communications specialist
Right.
within the government to advise on policy.
There you go.
Yeah.
And I just went private sector. Yeah, it is. It is. I just found that really cool. I was like, oh, how fascinating.
And we've got one eye each. We've got two eyes between the three of us. And we've got our third eye. We've got one eye each. And we've both got the same opposite stomach issues.
Yeah. So
That's weird.
That was so weird.
Yes. And because you've got...
I have pyloric stenosis, which they opened because it almost killed me as a baby because I was 11 days old when they operated. It's a valve in the stomach. Mine was fully closed, but it only opens just so far. It's like having a natural lap band. So if they do like gastric bypass surgery. So I have that naturally. And even though I got really floofy, imagine how floofy I would have gotten if I didn't.
And I've got the opposite problem where mine will not close properly. And I've had
crazy
all sorts of stuff where they found scarring on my esophagus because of it, which has been horrible because that's the surgery that I had a couple of weeks ago. But yeah, it's quite funny how we have the opposites of things. It's the opposite eye.
I'm like wondering what will happen with the time-space continuum when we do eventually meet up.
That'll be weird.
We're
gonna have to choose the venue very carefully. It will have to be.
We have to make sure there's not
LA, not Melbourne.
Right. It's like, okay, careful, watch the ley lines. But yeah. Oh, my dear, what a fun reconnection. Yeah. We've got lots going on.
We do have some questions, but I need to get into
Yeah, go for it.
I don't have it open. And do you have the...
I may have it. Hang on. Let me see. I do.
Oh, good, because
you said they came in.
I think there's two of them.
I see one. Let's see. Hang on. This is from Jamie. Let's see. Hi, lovely ladies. I think that you both are just fantastic. I've been enjoying listening to your podcast and just your points of view in general. Applause for putting yourselves out there without trying to be perfectly perfect. I'm so tired of fakeness. Aw, thank you.
Thank you. We are not perfect.
Yeah, no. We try really hard not to be on top of it. It's a trouble, but you know. Anyway, my question is, what did you wish for your children when you were pregnant? Besides healthy with 10 fingers, 10 toes, did you hope that they had your special abilities or not? I prayed that my kids would make a difference in the world. Fingers crossed for good and not for bad, LOL. Oh, Jamie, Eli's mama. Oh, Eli, I know who this is. Eli is a joy.
He's on my Patreon too. He's such a lovely fella.
Absolutely wonderful. So what did you want for yours?
I don't think I was that deep. I'm so embarrassed to say. I seriously didn't. I wanted healthy children. I remember, and it's quite ironic actually, because I remember having my first child and just I wanted him to be a boy, and he was. And I had that dream that he was going to be a boy. There was a lot of jokes going around that he would have red hair, and he did. And I just wanted him to be happy and healthy. And that's just been the most important thing, just have a happy, healthy child. He's 28, so I knew I had abilities, but hadn't honed it or knew how important it was or where I was taking it. So it didn't even enter my sphere. I'm going to be honest, it didn't enter my sphere. And when I was pregnant with Charlie, my youngest, I actually had this fear. I'm like, why would I be given two healthy children? I was convinced. It was just one of those awful things that really haunted me. And sadly, he was born with a genetic condition called neurofibromatosis, which is a chromosomal abnormality. He's perfectly healthy. He's perfectly fine. But we have been through a lot with him, and he's been through a lot. But I just wanted healthy, happy children. and ones that didn't cry. To be honest, and slept. I don't think I was deep enough. I'm sorry to disappoint.
Yeah, I didn't have well, I was aware of being intuitive or psychic. It freaked me out a lot. My mother-in-law at the time was very well. She was a traditional practitioner of her culture's magic and medicine,
Okay.
and she was famous for her dreams. And I did have a lot of dreams as a young person, but I quickly shut them off because they weren't always pleasant. And they were prescient. I just wanted my kids, to be honest, I had my kids because I wanted to know what it was like to love somebody wholly and completely. I never had children to love me. I had it to love them and to prove that you could be a good parent. Because I think of everything I went through, and I wanted really conscious, aware kids that contributed to the planet in positive ways. And I think they do. I think they're very mindful people. But I was just talking to my son yesterday, and he said, Mom, I know you did the best you could. And I said, absolutely. And then he goes, but you have no idea how hard it is to be so self-aware in a world full of fucktards.
Bless him.
And I said, I'm so sorry. And yes, I do. And he goes, Mom, your bibliophilia did not help. Because they grew up, we had thousands of books. I mean, they grew up in a veritable library. And I forced them to use critical thinking and both kids have suffered for it.
I agree that, my wants and needs for my children changed as they got older. But when I was pregnant, I mean, I was a walking hormone. I was horrible.
Yeah, same. And no, I was afraid mine would be ugly. I was that vain.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. But how psychic were you when you were pregnant? Because I was off the charts.
With Sarah, probably a lot more than I knew. But it was a time. The reality of that marriage not being good became very apparent when I was pregnant. So there was a lot of emotion. It was very healing. I would say on an energy work level, that entire pregnancy was very healing.
Right. Okay.
But people think healing means easy.
I know.
And
no,
there were times I cried 8 hours a day as I worked, and it was visceral because it was a lot of generational healing. Yeah. Because the women in my mom's side of the family died before 35.
Wow.
Until my grandmother, who died at 36. And then my auntie was the first to live past 40, and she made it to her 80s. In generations, I mean, generation after generation, they were poor. They had a lot of children. They were misused and abused. There was no North Star to guide the women further in life. My mother I was the first child in that entire line ever to be planned.
Wow.
Think about that. And my mom used to say it. She was, you were planned. And when I was a kid, I'd be like, okay, whatever. And then when they rolled back RV Wade,
that's when you realized.
It dawned on me. And I went, oh my God, that's why Mom kept it. She had a choice where no woman ever had in the entire, and they died. And I'm not kidding. When you look at the family tree, they died at 28 with 8 children, 30 with 9 children. It was just, yeah. And my grandmother was adopted by my great grandmother because her mother died at 30 years old with 10 children.
Wow.
Can you imagine? 30, my daughter's age.
Yeah.
With 10 children. Yeah. And so, luckily they stayed in contact. So I got to meet the oldest one when he was in his late 80s, Uncle Gus. just before he died.
Wow.
So there was a lot of, it was more energy work than it was being psychic. And like when I gave birth, it was like all the damage in the energy centers was blown through, like the scar. You could almost call it like energetical scar tissue got blown. Okay. And it was very healing. Yusuf, on the other hand, the second pregnancy, he came to me when it was her second birthday. And I had just let the last guest out of our apartment. And I hear a voice say, "Hey, I need to be born." And I said, "Miss, worst timing ever. I do not want another child right now. My marriage is falling apart. No. It'll be worth it." And I was like, no. And I got visions, just visions. And so when my husband came home from work, I said, "We've got to make a baby. It needs to be born." I conceived. I know when I conceived. And then the whole time he would come to me in dreams looking exactly like he did.
Yeah, I've talked about that. I had a dream of my son, Ollie, my eldest son, when I was about 3 months pregnant. And you know those afternoon naps that you have to take when you're in early pregnancy?
Yeah.
And he just popped up, this little boy with red hair and glasses, and said, "Hi, I'm Oliver." And that image is hanging in my kitchen. That's his kindergarten picture.
Oh, I love that.
It was just, and I had like the names that I chose, girls' names, you know, had no idea. But the Oliver stuck from 3 months.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. So there's that image of him. And I tell that story to him every time he goes, "Why did you make me have that haircut?" Because he's got like bright red hair, bold hair. Oh. And I'm like, because it was cute.
Right.
But yeah, the fact that I had 2 bright children with bright red hair causes so many problems. Right. But yeah, so and I remember going into the delivery room with Oliver, and it was, I just had this peace, like I was protected. I just knew it was all going to be okay. It was horrific. I had a 3-hour very fast labour with complications, but I just knew that we were going to be okay.
Yeah.
So
I think when it comes to pregnancy, it is magical. And again, it's kind of like the word healing. People will assume easy.
Yeah.
But you really connect viscerally to your role in the cosmos, I think. And not that it's our only role as women, listeners. That's not it. But there is something. And my mother-in-law, because I had a long labor with Miss Sarah, very fast delivery. Like, she just popped right out. But getting there, which is the story of our life.
Does that say, I was just about to say, is that like, is there an explanation there?
She came out when she damn well felt like it.
Yeah.
But my mother-in-law, because I refused drugs, I refused pain medication. And I knew it was very important for me to do that. My mother had been very over-medicated with me, and she was not attached to me. I almost died on her. I almost died because they missed it because I was lethargic from them delaying labor. Right. And so I didn't want any of that impacting my kids. So there was that, but also I felt very strongly that it's just pain. Our bodies are designed to manage that. And so I know.
I'm apologizing to anyone that's heavily pregnant listening to this.
Yeah.
I apologize.
You probably don't want to listen. I'm not going to go into any of the other part, but my mother-in-law, who had been very contentious with me up until this point, after I had the baby, she came in and she went, "You are a strong mother." And that was it. She was like, "You've done some serious magic." Because remember, she was a traditional practitioner, and she was like, this is not without consequence, basically, is what she was telling me. It's like, you've leveled up, child. And it was. And when Sarah and I came out of the delivery room, because this was an all women's hospital, there were no male doctors, no male nurses, no men at all. It was fan-fucking-tastic. I'm sorry. It was amazing. Okay. And honestly, I think when it comes to these things, and I know people are going to take this the wrong way, but it was so safe to be a woman in that space.
Yeah.
It was so safe. You did not have to worry about your body being violated in that space. And I had a lot of trauma. So it was so safe. But as I was being wheeled out with my cute little perfect princess, she was brought into this world with the Arabic victory cry.
That's
every woman stood in the doorway, and it was like 30, 40 people just doing the cry of victory.
Wow.
How cool, right?
It was amazing. Magic. Yeah, That sounds magical.
Yeah. So there is a magic, I think, to it. Whether you have pain medication or don't have it. I'm not saying you don't use it, because God, use it if you need it. But it was my case. But I do think that there is a magic to it. It doesn't mean if you can't have kids and you've adopted, that's fucking magic too. Because my great-grandmother was my great-grandmother.
Yeah, there's a lot of magic in being a parent, and you can wish whether you can have hopes and dreams for your child that you fostered, that you adopt, that you are a step parent of.
Absolutely.
We're just talking about prior to having our children.
Yeah, our kids.
I didn't have to, just to make you very sad, I had a 3-hour labour with my first child and a 1-hour labour with my second child, who was in such a hurry. He literally I got on the table, I opened my legs, and he went, "Hi, Mum." That was literally my delivery with my son. And he's been in a hurry ever since.
I had a 4-day labor with Sarah. But the delivery was easy. It was 2 pushes.
Blessings, sorrows.
6 hours with Yusuf. So it wasn't bad. I was induced both times. So 6 hours with him. And the delivery was still pretty easy. I held it up because he had a giant head. But he's still here.
With a giant head.
He grew into it, though. I was a little worried.
He grew up.
Giant noggin.
And just, my son had giant shoulders. They had to break his shoulder to get him out. His head was bored and his shoulders, and he was in like 3 to 6 months at birth. He was 10 pounds.
That's a lot of baby.
That's a lot of baby when you're looking at it. And he was early. So this is the funniest thing. He, according to my dates, was early. So when he was born with this, what looked like a toupee on top of his head, because he had so much hair and he had bright orange eyebrows, his body was also covered in bright orange hair. You know, the hair that they lose when they're full term. Yeah. And they had to put him in an incubator at 10 pounds, so he looked like a giant goldfish. And I just looked at him and I just went, I've just given birth to a baby orangutan. But he grew into his hair, and now he looks like Ned Kelly with a long beard.
Aww.
So, yes.
That's so funny.
But now if we've traumatised you enough today, talking about dating,
that's
and
what middle-aged women do. That's what middle-aged women do.
We've jumped
I think
from,
young people.
Yeah, the British royal family to dating, to vaginal cream, to giving birth. Is there anything else you'd like to cover today?
Natural. I think we can leave hemorrhoids for another episode.
We've traumatized people. We're going to get letters. We'll get letters. But thank you for your question. Eli's mom. Thank you.
Eli's mom. And by the way, Eli is absolutely a delight. I've had such a pleasure connecting with them.
And whatever dreams and hopes you had for him, I am sure he has just lived up to absolutely every single one of them.
Mm-hmm. And will continue to. Yeah. Precious. But yeah. Well, I think that's kind of it. I don't have much else.
Is that not enough? I mean, it's, I think that's enough traumatizing for today. We will be back next week to talk about
Other traumatizing issues.
Other traumatizing issues. And it's good night from Melbourne.
And good morning, or actually good afternoon. I can't even tell what time it is because my laptop
It's not afternoon yet. It's 11:40 there.
Oh, we've got 20 minutes till afternoon.
Oh, okay.
So
cool.
Yeah, I think I'm going to wind this up and let it upload and take another mile walk and do these things in increments.
To walk off all the cake and champagne you had yesterday.
Oh my gosh, it was lovely. And the champagne was very nice, by the way. A lot of times, champagne is kind of iffy.
Yeah, you don't know which one you're getting. And when
it was lovely.
Out the back of the house stuff.
Yeah, no, it was lovely. It was really lovely. And it was such a beautiful venue. Really gorgeous, so thank you.
You thanked me plenty, but you are more than welcome.
Alrighty.
Alrighty.
Until next week.